Hello my loves, and welcome to your monthly April Unconditional Love Twin Flame Masculine Feminine reading for April 2017. I'm sorry I've been a little bit away from YouTube with the monthlies. It's just that time has been quite illusory for me and quite difficult. And I have to be honest, I have felt that my weekly Vimeo followers needed more attention. And I'm sorry if I've neglected you. And I hope that the weekly roomies have been enough. And I hope that this is a good reading for you. Okay. I'm just going to start now. For the month of April, what is going on with the masculine and feminine divine energies? And I feel drawn to just offer a little prayer of thanks for the clarity and the guidance that we are given in these readings. Thank you. And off we go. So, bottom of the deck for the month of April is the Eight of Wands. This is travel. This is the travel of love. This is Cupid's arrow. This is the movement of love. This is movement overseas, movement across seas, across skies, air travel. Movement towards our loves. Movement towards our love and direction and focus towards our love, towards the person that we love. It's very important. It's very important that the action is taken. Wands are action, and action needs to be taken. It's a very strong message. It's not to force things, but it's to allow the movement. Maybe, yes, of Cupid's arrow, of the arrow of Cupid that hits, that we are not necessarily in any control of, to allow that to move us, to allow us to be moved physically, in action, in fire, in the wands, in passion, in creativity, towards our desire, towards our love, and towards our desire again. And so I'm going to have the feminine on this side. The first card for the feminine is the World. Second card for the feminine is the Sun. Third card for the feminine is the Nine of Swords. Fourth card for the feminine is Justice. Interesting. First card for the masculine is the Three of Pentacles. Second card for the masculine is the Five of Wands. Third card for the masculine is the Queen of Wands. Fourth card for the masculine is the High Priestess. Crowning, energy from the masculine, energy from the feminine, and the root we will uncover later. bottom of the deck for April, as I said, is the Eight of Wands, and we shall place this over here. I want to say thank you for being here. I want to say thank you for watching. I want to say thank you for sharing this space with me. I want to say thank you for creating the space for me to work with you here. The feminine starts off with the Wheel of Fortune. I'm going to separate this into generally 4 parts for the month. I would like to point out that this is an intuitive spread that I created, but there is always movement within it. And so I'm guided to this month separate the cards out in 2 weeks, which has never happened before, but I'm going to do that. So the first week of April, we have the Wheel of Fortune for the feminine. What is and what are the messages for her within this? They are to surrender to her desire. They are to surrender her will to the general will and to life and to what is happening and to the wheel that will turn regardless. This is a card of destiny. This is a card of truth that is only born through movement. And really the only thing that ever hurts us is the restriction of our own movement within life as it moves. It's really us putting the brake on what is happening, what is already. Putting the brake on does not feel good, because it is really all we can do is resist our destiny. It is impossible to stop destiny from playing out. It can be realized in very, very many different ways, but there is no way to impede the unraveling of your destiny. And so feminine, for the first week of April, really the message is for you to relax. Sometimes it may not be easy to go with the flow as it is moving. It may feel as though it is opposed to your will. But very easily, just making the decision to allow life to move you rather than try to move life will ease this week. You will feel and notice life working out for you in ways that you may not have noticed if you hadn't have slowed down enough to notice. That sounds like a riddle, but that is the message. When we slow down and allow life to unravel itself, then things become clear. The message for the masculine for this first week of April is the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is about building something of renown and glory and legacy. It's about working together with people. It's about working together as a community. It's about sometimes the tricky energy of 3. The 3 energy can be difficult to understand. The story of the Holy Trinity comes to mind. It can feel difficult. It's as though the 2 energy is easier to navigate. The 3 seems difficult to balance, but it is actually not difficult to balance. It is equal. There needn't be a lean to one side or the other. But it feels as though for the masculine for this week, really he's focused upon building practical things. It is about working together with people. It's about working with architects. This card always shows up for me in a very traditional fashion, in that it is for me all about the building of this cathedral, and the story within the card is that they're working with, I believe, is that they're working with the architects, working with the people that are building, you know. And I always tell the story about how it's a building of renown and glory and divinity, and it takes time. It takes devotion, and it takes not giving up. And the message for the masculine really is about tenacity and to keep going, keep going, keep going. Masculine or feminine, female or male, masculine or feminine exists within both of us and all of us. And there are many female viewers that it is important that they understand this masculine aspect of themselves, and this message as well, to keep going. This card really feels as though it's holding this energy of tenacity, and it is about tenacity and keeping going. I'm going to move on to the second card there for the masculine in that vein, which is the Five of Wands. This can symbolize, represent conflict, and it does seem to be a little bit connected, and we can call this the second week, but I do feel as though these two kind of come together as one message in lots of ways, because I feel as though there may be some resistance or some conflict that may impact this trying to build something. It feels as though this resistance is within oneself, and really the message is to be aware that any resistance is really your resistance, and if you perceive it from others, it is your projection upon them that is creating the scenario. And you will empower yourself by taking a step back and enabling your perspective to grow into one that you can understand, that really the conflict or the hold up or the battle is within you. You really are just creating other characters in the story and in the narrative to use to explore your own resistance. And really it is about fighting for what you believe in, battling for victory. The Five of Wands here, the Six of Wands is the victory card, the next card. It really is about you understanding that you really, really want this. It is about the masculine understanding that he wants to build this, and it fuels him in his building this conflict. This always seems to me as though some kind of fire is being made with the rubbing together of two sticks kind of thing, with those five though. There's always creativity here in that conflict. But yes, some conflict could arise. The feminine in the second week, it feels as though she has learned to go with the flow as per the Wheel of Fortune, and she really rides into her own sunshine. She feels this sense of freedom, this sense of joy, this sense of childlike innocence, this sense of flow. And so really just repeatedly allowing life to move us really gets us into this flow of happiness and joy. because we stop resisting. And what's interesting is that there's some kind of resistance over here with the masculine, but there is this freedom that gets born in the feminine. It's as though everything has been oiled up and it's flowing and moving, and it's moving in a very powerful and happy, joyful, free way. These are both major arcana cards here. They're big energies, and they're big. The faster the feminine can move through this Wheel of Fortune, allowing life to turn itself rather than trying to make it happen herself, the faster she can move into this joy card. So for some, there will be a much faster swish into this feeling of joy and freedom, and just this feeling of riding, like you're riding a horse or a bike, or you're in a car with the windows down and it's warm and gorgeous outside. It's springtime, because it is springtime, and you can really feel all that air, warm air rushing through you, over you. You feel free. That's the energy, and that's the feeling for the feminine in that Sun card there. And then I'm going to move straight on to the third card. So for the third week, a little bit of a heads up here. There may be some difficulty sleeping for the feminine. There may be some thoughts that come up that are worrying or troublesome, and I'm actually going to pull some more cards for a bit of clarification on this. Okay, couple of cards. Okay, so what I want to say about that is that immediately what I got is that she's worried about this Hierophant card, which for me is marriage. Within these relationship spreads, it really represents marriage to me, or it represents a committed, structured, a structure, a community and a structure around love. That can be an individual relationship, but it can also mean from a sense of community. But in this relationship spread, which is what this really is, it represents marriage. It feels as though she's worried about that, and it also feels as though she's worried about, I'm guessing, some kind of financial thing. But what I want to say is that what these cards are saying is everything's okay in both of those regards. The Ace of Pentacles signifies an influx of financial abundance, or abundance in a practical fashion. That we have everything we need at our means and our disposal. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to come in a financial fashion, but it is that the practical means are here for you. And I do feel though as though, and these are big things, it's kind of everything, it feels kind of like the two big things. It was like relationships and money. If I have the love in my life that's all going well and I have a lot of money, if I have an abundance of love and I have an abundance of money, what really else do we require? And really those two things are just in our thinking. And this is in this card here, it's just about our thoughts. Swords are mental, swords are, what's going on. And it is that kind of 3 a.m, middle of the night, we're sitting bolt upright. We're feeling a bit scared. It's scary. Also represents nightmares. But really the big strong message I want to give is that everything is okay. Everything is on its way. Everything is coming in. Everything is abundant. Everything is solid. Everything is said and done. Everything is here behind the scenes. We're looking in this opposite direction, but behind the scenes it's all good, it's all here, it's all coming in. And I'm really glad that I pulled those two cards to get clarification upon that slightly difficult energy. And really it is about what we are focusing upon. So be careful of your thoughts. If you are having worrisome thoughts, notice them. But take that step back to notice it as a worrisome thought. It's only a thought. Nothing is actually happening, especially at those times in the middle of the night when things can seem a little bit darker and heavier than maybe they actually are. So just to take that into consideration for the third week of April here for the feminine. The third week of April here for the masculine is the Queen of Wands. This is Aries, which is interesting, giving it to Aries. Happy birthday, Aries. It's an Aries woman. It's a creative woman. It's a fiery woman. It's a passionate woman. It's a beautiful woman. She's feminine. She's feline. It's also Leo and Sagittarius. I was drawn to the Aries because it's Aries time in April. There's often quite a big Leo energy around this this card as well. It's a fire sign woman. And if it's not a fire sign woman, really it's a passionate, creative, beautiful. She feels it's a beautiful energy. She becomes very prominent in his life for the third week of April. And she brings him back to a feminine energy. There feels as though there's a lot of masculinity kind of going on here. There's a lot of kind of masculine male figures in the cards. And then, I mean, I suppose there are on this side as well. But it's more, the energy feels more flowing on this side, and it was a little bit more choppy over here. And a little bit more aggressive. A little bit like, you know, two male deer rutting. Feels a bit like that over here. Feels kind of masculine in that fashion. But then there seems to be this shift in the third week to a more feminine, and it is that this feminine woman, she does arise for him, and she does help him, and she does teach him. Or not necessarily teach him, but she impacts him and affects him in the third week. And that narrative will play out differently for everybody. But then she really does hook him up with his only major arcana card for this month, for the fourth week of April, which is the High Priestess, and she's a big deal. She's intuition. She's a psychic ability. She's watery. She's the moon. She's 2. She's partnership. She's number 2. She's the High Priestess. She is the wife of the Hierophant. For the month of April, there is a spiritual marriage. And it occurs in the 3rd and 4th week. I'm just digesting that a little bit, but it does feel as though when these two arrive together, they're powerful. And I like that one is on the feminine side and one is on the masculine side in opposition. The feminine card is on the masculine side, the masculine card is on the feminine side. Because there's just a beautiful sense of balance to that. The masculine gets in touch very succinctly and directly with his own intuition. He's forced to, he has to, but this woman helps. I'm going to say the feminine because I feel like the feminine is all the energy here. It's her, it's the feminine arriving in her creativity, in her beauty, in her joy. I love the way she's holding that sunflower. It's just like this sun energy kind of, she gives it to him. She arrives. It feels as though there is a little bit of a partedness in these first 2 weeks, and then there's more of a togetherness in the last 2 weeks. It does. It feels as though the feminine's really going on her own direction here. It feels like the masculine's really doing his own thing over here. But then there's this feeling that we are very much connected and on the same narrative and the same story going on between the two of us for this part of the spread. But yes, the masculine is, he's kind of forced to, I don't know why I'm saying forced, but it does feel as though this Queen of Wands coerces him into a more intuitive way of viewing things. But she is very, very powerful, the High Priestess. It's the highest form of intuition. It really gets things going. It's very much tuning into a knowledge of the unseen, and it's a very powerful gift and tool to use, and she is very present for him for that week, and he needs her, and he has her there. Fourth card, Major Arcana for the feminine. There's a lot of Major Arcana cards. We really have 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the feminine in this Rider-Waite Centennial deck that I use. The fourth card, Major Arcana for the feminine, is the Justice card. So that Justice card is all about, it feels very peaceful. It feels very appeasing. It feels as though she really is achieving her just rewards. And it does feel like it is connected to this High Priestess over here, because it's as though she's been trying to get her voice heard, and she's accepted the intuitiveness. She's allowed in over here, and this sense of balance is returned to the feminine. Because I have to be honest, it feels as though she enters this Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of chaotic. It feels as though she's not, she feels a little bit on a roller coaster, and she feels a bit unsure at the beginning here. But I want to say that the work is being done over here. But it is as though this Queen kind of wins out over this conflict for the masculine. It's as though the Queen emerges. There's a battle going on here, but the Queen emerges as the victor. And there is this idea and this feeling in this narrative that the masculine has to kind of fight for the feminine, and he does. He's fighting for her. And he's fighting even for the feminine within himself. For that feminine, slightly less driven, more intuitive knowledge. It does feel a little bit as though maybe that's what this internal battle is about. It's about understanding the practical and the creative, and understanding that it can work together in an intuitive fashion. This seems to be what's really going on for the masculine for, April. The root for April is the Fool. So it's very important. This is the energy that is at the root and is it's like a bulb trying to push through up to be seen. And it really is it's the idea of the beginning. It's the idea of freedom. It's taking action without necessarily having any kind of practical, sensible ideas about anything. It represents true presence. It's zero. It represents true presence. There is only now. There is only movement. There is only perspective. There is only an idea to move. There is just ambition, but really solely ambition. There's no plan. There's no business plan. There's no day plan. It's true presence. And there's a strong message here for people to really surrender to this full energy. And I'm really feeling as though not many people grasp this. That presence is freedom. And presence is only available to us in the now moment. And I feel as though I want to encourage people to just take that action, take the leap. The big message for the Fool is to take the leap. And he isn't afraid to look foolish. Even to himself. We are afraid to look foolish to ourselves because we have nothing with us. He has nothing to hold him back. He's left his baggage at the door. In his free hand he holds a little flower, a rose, I believe. A beautiful white rose. He has no need. The interesting thing about the Fool, though, is he does have ambition. He has somewhere to go, so there is desire within him. But the attainment of that desire is kind of impossible for him to focus upon because he is so in the present moment. This is the energy that is moving to be born this month of April. How is it flowering? Oh, the Hermit. Lots of big energies going on this month. The Hermit. So, it may be that we need to spend time alone and spend time with ourselves in order to understand presence. There is a sense of aloneness here. There is a strong story here with this Hermit, in that we can feel it's very important that we fully embrace our separateness in order to be able to fully embrace our oneness and our wholeness. We cannot understand ourselves as one beautiful world without really fully understanding ourselves as one beautiful human being. As we perceive ourselves, we perceive the world. And so maybe it is relevant that before we seek to travel and take ourselves out into the world, we fully understand and explore our own light in our aloneness and our separateness. Maybe it is that we take a leap into our aloneness. But what I want to say is, this card does not feel and is not saying be alone. It's saying understand the sense of the separate and the alone. It doesn't need to play out as aloneness. It may play out as aloneness, as being alone, but it doesn't need to. Because it is my understanding and the message that is moving through me now that when we are unafraid of our aloneness, and when we understand ourselves in our aloneness fully, we are then able to engage, having explored all aspects of ourself without using others as an excuse to feel. That we then can truly connect. It's a very strong, very big message for this month. The energy the masculine brings is the Ten of Swords. Interesting. there is a conflict here, clarified with this Ten of Swords, and it is the thinking. It's reason, it's thought. It plays out for both of us. See how the feminine has it over here in the 9, the masculine has it over here in the 10. It is heavier in this 10 energy, but it is an ending. It's as though the masculine puts an end to this worrisome thought and thinking. But we do work together to do it. But it really is the burden of thoughts, just thoughts that do not necessarily work for us. But it is a collective thing. It represents understanding and reason and mental reasoning. And what is really going on for this month and in general at the moment is that this is not really working out for us. It's not feeling good. It's overwhelming us. Really, there are just too many conflicting thoughts that do not work well together. Or really, it's just a build-up of thought that constricts us, that keeps us up at night, and that really kind of betrays us. This card is also about betrayal, but really it's understanding that our thinking and even fact itself is fallible. It will betray you at some point. At some point, knowledge will betray you. A thought will betray you unless you view it always, in the paradox sometimes, as just a thought. There is no such thing as truth, other than truth in the moment. If we hold on to all these individual truths, they will pin us down and they will betray us, because at some point that truth will prove itself to be untrue. Everything is two things. It cannot exist without the other. One cannot exist without the other. And so really there is a big thing going on this month with reasoning and thought, and even what we may call fact, not doing us any favours. And there is a message that for this week, it feels as though it ends for the masculine, this understanding, because he moves into this place where intuition is his guide. It does not mean that we let go of thought and thinking. We allow it to inform us, but we do not hold on to it as our God. The message is that we moved into maybe a scientific. We made science our God. We have made science our God. And, you know, science, the science of 50 years ago is not the science of today. Some of it is. But there are way more things that we do not understand within the scientific realm and within every realm. Within the world, there are far many more things that we do not understand than we do understand. But really it is that if we hold on to a thought and we make it true, it will impede us. If we hold it there, if we don't also allow it to be untrue, if we don't also allow it to be challenged by another, it will pin us down and it will kill us in the end. It will kill your soul. Not that a soul can really be killed, but I think you understand what I'm saying. It's really that the soul will be severely impeded by it, and it will not work. The energy the feminine brings is the Hanged Man, another major arcana. It's a message for her to be patient, but also that it feels like she brings some kind of She puts on some kind of break. And it exists for the masculine to explore this. She brings him a pause and a different perspective, an upside down perspective maybe, but a different one. She may feel as though she has been paused as well, but I do feel as though she is doing it whether she knows it or not. And it really is to give the masculine time to allow this thought-based restriction to come to an end. And to allow our truth in our individuality to grow from us taking some action that maybe doesn't make sense. The outcome card I'm going to pull is the King of Pentacles. Interesting. There's the King of Pentacles here and there's the Ace of Pentacles here. So there's a strong, financially able, practically able male figure here in the King of Pentacles. But then this Ace of Pentacles here also represents, I'm going to say, divine support in a practical fashion. As I said before, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be monetary, because we are supported, you know, in many, many ways practically. But there could be a masculine figure that turns up to help in that regard. It feels like he may be separate. It feels as though there is a big influx of abundance when we act intuitively, and when we take action. There's a lot of action here in our true sense of who and what we are, and with focus upon where we want to go and what we desire. And there is a lot of financial oomph, there's support practically in those pentacles for whatever you really desire, whatever you really want to do. It's a very strong message. And so we move on to the Rumi card for this month of April. This one. And so the Rumi card for the month of April is number 44, Merciful Mother Jamal. I'm going to place her there, and I'm going to read to you from the Alana Fairchild Rumi Oracle, my favourite. And just close your eyes and take this opportunity to allow this to just really wash over you, to be peaceful, to take a deep breath, to allow these messages to just flow through. O sudden resurrection, O countless blessings, O blazing fire in the jungle of thoughts. Today you arrive with laughter to break open the jail. You, blazing angel capable of so much, you evoke the testing hand of life. Why not when you cannot fail? Yet, in your sweet surrender, how can the great beloved not respond in kind and offer you solace, comfort, and mercy? for not all success must be hard won. Can you imagine this? The sweet face of the all-powerful. It shines upon you as the love emanating from the Holy Mother's eyes, the golden radiance of her body and the gentleness of her touch. This is your birthright now, your divine inheritance, the mercy of the all-merciful. Let it soften the hard edges of your life and your being and bring to you the grace that is deserved. This oracle brings you a message. There is a shift taking place now in a matter of great importance to you, from Jalal to Jamal, from justice to mercy. This is your path, your destiny, and your blessing now opening up before you. It may be a particular matter. However, it likely includes your entire life orientation. You are being granted refuge, respite, and shelter from the storms of struggle and doubt, and being given a divine sanctuary of safe harbour. You shall find that the unravelling of the struggle and pain now happens through tenderness, a gentler approach. You are also being asked to take stock of your own thoughts and attitudes. Having to be tough and play hardball in the past has served its purpose, yet this oracle comes to you with guidance to become softer in your way and your attitude. Can you gently but firmly place to one side the judge within, the one who keeps score and demands retribution, an eye for an eye, the exponent of absolute justice? Can you invite instead the one who gentles the aggressive lord within and allows him to bow before the great lady who loves, is wise, and who steadies the workings of the world with the softest of touches? Don't fear that if you suddenly give yourself a break, all your discipline, hardness, toughness, and suffering will go to waste. No, all things provide learning and serve divine purpose. But now there is no reason to continue in that way. It is time to learn another way. You are strong enough now to become gentle. If there is a foe or fight in your life, ask for the Mother of Mercy to bless it into resolution. You are being told now that you can stand your ground and remain in your strength without having to become aggressive or hard. You have more power than you realize, and it is in your being. It is not in your ability to control others or manipulate situations, for such actions are unworthy of a being of your magnitude and are unnecessary for your success. You are also being given the message that your prayers are powerful, although action in the world is a part of your sole purpose and plan. When you pray, have conviction that your prayers are real, are heard, and are responded to by the great universal heart. So pray carefully and thoughtfully, be present, and speak as if you were speaking to your dearest, oldest, and most influential and powerful friend, because of course, that is exactly what you are doing. Pray from the heart and trust in the power of your prayers. There is no limit to what you can pray about, nothing too unspiritual or unworthy, nothing, so pray. This oracle brings you the message that the great power of compassion is reaching for you, that it wants to help you, but is waiting for you to ask. So ask, then shall you receive. Place your hand on your heart and say after me, I call upon Jamal, Mother of Mercy, upon Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, and ask for your grace, intervention, and blessing now, in all matters of my life. I accept the help of the great universal compassion, seeking to bestow itself upon me now. Thank you. And now just say and ask for grace, compassion, and really the power of compassion that is reaching for you. The issue that you would like it to touch, please speak it now. Place both hands at your heart when you are ready. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. And just say thank you. Thank you for being here. I will put the link below to anybody that is interested in a personal reading. I am not doing so many. So it may not be accessible to all, but I will put the link below. The link to this week's weekly masculine feminine video reading is also below, and the trailer will follow. I love you very much. Thank you. See you again next week.